The gospel music world has felt a deep and personal loss with the passing of Norman Hutchins at the age of 62. For decades, his voice carried messages of hope, healing, perseverance, and unwavering faith. To many, he was more than a singer. He was a vessel, a pastor in melody, a preacher through song. And now, as the community reflects on his life and legacy, it becomes clear that his impact stretches far beyond stages, recordings, or awards. His influence lives in the hearts of those who found strength in his music during their most difficult moments. Norman Hutchins was not simply a gospel performer. He was a ministry in motion. From the very beginning of his career, he approached music not as entertainment, but as a calling. Born with an unmistakable, soul-stirring voice, Hutchins understood early on that his gift carried responsibility. Every lyric he sang was intentional. Every note he delivered was anchored in faith. His music was rooted in scripture, shaped by experience, and fueled by a desire to bring people closer to God. Over the years, Hutchins built a body of work that became foundational within contemporary gospel music. Songs that were first introduced in churches quickly spread to choirs, radio stations, and concert halls across the country and beyond. His sound was powerful yet tender, commanding yet compassionate. He had the rare ability to combine vocal excellence with spiritual authenticity. When he sang, people listened not just with their ears, but with their hearts. One of his most beloved songs, If You Love Him, stands as a defining example of his artistry. The song resonates deeply because it speaks to devotion and surrender. It calls listeners to reflect on their faith and challenges them to live out their love for God in meaningful ways. The emotional intensity of the ballad, combined with Hutchins' passionate delivery, turned it into more than a song. It became an anthem in many churches. Even now, years after its release, it continues to move congregations and individuals alike. His album This Gospel further demonstrated his ability to merge traditional gospel roots with contemporary production. The project showcased not only his vocal strength, but also his vision as a songwriter and producer. Each track carried a clear message, centered on faith, perseverance, and spiritual growth. The album became a staple for many gospel music lovers, reinforcing Hutchins' place as a leader in the genre. Another significant work, Show Him Your Love, continued that tradition of heartfelt worship and testimony. With this release, Hutchins invited listeners into a deeper place of reflection and praise. The songs were not merely performed, they were offered. There was a sincerity in his delivery that made every lyric feel personal. Fans often described feeling as though he was singing directly to them, speaking to their struggles, their doubts, and their victories. Throughout his career, Norman Hutchins remained committed to ministry. His work extended beyond recording studios and concert tours. He served in church leadership and remained deeply involved in guiding and mentoring others in their faith journeys. For him, music was a tool, a powerful one, but it was always in service of a greater purpose. He saw himself first as a servant of God. That perspective shaped everything he created. Part of what made Hutchins so impactful was his transparency. He did not present himself as flawless or distant. Instead, he often shared testimonies of personal trials and challenges. In doing so, he made his message even more powerful. Listeners understood that the hope he sang about was not theoretical, it was lived. The perseverance he encouraged was something he himself had practiced. That authenticity created trust, and that trust deepened the connection between him and his audience. His voice had a distinct quality, rich, textured, and deeply emotive. He could command a choir-backed crescendo that lifted the roof off a sanctuary, yet he could also deliver a quiet, intimate verse that felt like a personal prayer. That range allowed his music to meet people wherever they were emotionally and spiritually. In moments of celebration, his songs amplified joy. In seasons of grief, they offered comfort. In times of uncertainty, they restored confidence in God's promises. Beyond the music itself, Hutchins' influence can be seen in the many artists and ministers who cite him as an inspiration. Younger gospel singers often point to his phrasing, his songwriter structure, and his commitment to message-driven music as guiding examples. He demonstrated that success in gospel music does not require compromising spiritual integrity. In fact, he proved that authenticity is what gives the music its lasting power. The news of his passing sent waves through the gospel community. Tributes poured in from fellow artists, church leaders, and fans. Social media filled with personal stories of how his songs carried people through illness, loss, financial hardship, and spiritual doubt. Many shared memories of concerts where the atmosphere shifted from performance to worship. Others spoke of hearing one of his songs at just the right time, when they needed encouragement the most. There is something uniquely powerful about gospel music. It serves as both art and ministry. Norman Hutchins understood that dual role intimately. He never treated the stage as merely a platform for applause. For him, it was an altar. His concerts often felt like extended worship services. Audience members would sing along, hands raised, tears flowing. The line between artist and congregation blurred, replaced by a shared spiritual experience. His songwriter deserves special recognition. Crafting a gospel song that endures requires more than a memorable melody. It requires theological grounding, emotional resonance, and lyrical clarity. Hutchins consistently delivered all three. His lyrics were accessible yet profound. They spoke of God's love without oversimplifying life's complexities. They acknowledged pain while pointing toward hope. That balance is part of what made his music timeless. As fans reflect on his legacy, many return to a central theme present throughout his career: faith in action. Hutchins did not promote passive belief. His songs often encouraged listeners to live out their faith boldly, to trust God actively, and to persevere through adversity. That message resonates across generations. In a world filled with uncertainty, his music provided steady reassurance. The void left by his passing is undeniably significant. Gospel music has lost a voice that carried both authority and compassion. Churches have lost a worship leader whose songs shaped services for decades. Fans have lost an artist whose music became part of the soundtrack of their spiritual lives. Yet, even in loss, there is continuity. His recordings remain. His lyrics continue to be sung. His influence endures in every choir that performs his songs and every individual who presses play seeking encouragement. Legacy is not measured only in awards or chart positions. It is measured in lives changed. By that standard, Norman Hutchins leaves behind an immeasurable inheritance. Countless individuals credit his music with helping them hold on to faith during difficult seasons. Others found renewed passion for worship through his albums. Some even discovered their own calling to ministry after being inspired by his example. It is also important to recognize the discipline and dedication behind his success. A career spanning decades does not happen by accident. It requires consistency, growth, and resilience. Hutchins navigated changes in the music industry while staying true to his sound and message. As trends evolved, he remained rooted in gospel's foundational principles. That steadfastness earned him respect across generations of listeners. In remembering Norman Hutchins, we are reminded of the transformative power of music grounded in faith. His songs did more than entertain, they ministered. They challenged, comforted, and inspired. They created space for reflection and praise. They built bridges between personal struggle and divine promise. Though his earthly voice has fallen silent, its echo remains strong. Every time "If You Love Him" is sung in a church sanctuary, his legacy breathes again. Every time a listener revisits this gospel or "Show Him Your Love," they reconnect with the heart of his ministry. Every testimony shared about how his music strengthens someone's faith becomes another thread in the tapestry of his enduring impact. As we reflect on his life, we celebrate not only what he accomplished, but who he was: a servant, a worshiper, a leader, and a faithful messenger. The gospel community will continue to feel his absence, but it will also continue to feel his influence. Future generations who may never have seen him perform live will still encounter his voice through recordings. They will still learn from his lyrics. They will still be inspired by his unwavering commitment to God. Norman Hutchins' story is one of purpose fulfilled. He used his gift fully, pouring himself into every note and every message. His life demonstrates how art and faith can intersect to create something eternal. While the sorrow of his passing is real, so too is the gratitude for the years of ministry he shared. For those who were touched by his music, the invitation remains to carry forward the spirit of his message, to live with faith, to persevere through trials, and to uplift others through love and encouragement. That is perhaps the most fitting tribute to a man whose entire career was dedicated to lifting others higher. His legacy stands as a testament to the enduring power of gospel music. It reminds us that songs rooted in truth and delivered with sincerity can transcend time. And as long as his music continues to be sung, Norman Hutchins' influence will remain alive, inspiring hearts and strengthening faith for generations to come. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.